How much of your time and energy do you spend worrying about things you can't control? How many hours have you lost replaying conversations you can't change, stressing about other people's opinions, or anxiously refreshing news feeds about events you're powerless to influence? What if I told you that most of your stress, anxiety, and frustration comes not from your actual circumstances, but from trying to control things that are fundamentally outside your control? Think about it. You can't control what other people think about you. You can't control the economy, the weather, or traffic. You can't control how your boss reacts, whether someone loves you back, or what happened in your past. You can't control aging, death, or the fact that life is uncertain, but you keep trying. And that trying is exhausting you. It's stealing your peace, draining your energy, and keeping you stuck in anxiety and frustration. Here's the liberating truth: you don't have to control everything. In fact, you can't. But you can control something far more powerful: how you respond to what happens. In the next hour, you're going to learn how to let go of what you can't control and reclaim your peace, your energy, and your power. We'll start by understanding the difference between what you can control and what you can't, and why that distinction changes everything. Then you'll learn why trying to control the uncontrollable creates suffering, and how to recognize when you're doing it. Next, I'll teach you practical techniques to release control and accept what is, even when it's difficult. After that, you'll discover how to redirect your energy toward what you actually can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. And finally, you'll learn how to build a mindset of acceptance and resilience that allows you to navigate life's uncertainties with peace and strength. This isn't about giving up or becoming passive. This is about focusing your energy where it actually makes a difference. Because when you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you become truly powerful. So take a deep breath. Let go of the tension you're carrying. For the next hour, you're going to learn how to find peace in a world you can't control. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What you can and can't control. Let's start with a fundamental principle that most people never fully grasp. There are only 3 things you can truly control in life: your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. That's it. Everything else is outside your control. This idea comes from ancient Stoic philosophy, particularly from the teachings of Epictetus, a philosopher who lived 2,000 years ago. He said, "Some things are within our power while others are not." Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. Let me modernize this for you. What you can control: your thoughts, your attitudes, your beliefs, your interpretations, your actions, your behaviors, your effort, your preparation, your responses, your reactions, your words, your focus, your attention, how you treat people, your values, your character, your habits, your choices. What you cannot control: other people's thoughts, other people's actions, other people's opinions of you, the past, the future, the economy, politics, the weather, traffic, how others treat you, whether you get sick, whether you get the job, whether someone loves you, whether your flight is delayed, what your parents did, what happened yesterday, how long you'll live, other people's success, global events, natural disasters, aging. Look at those lists carefully. Really absorb them. Most of your stress and anxiety comes from trying to control things on the second list. You're trying to control your reputation, so you obsess over what people think. You're trying to control the future, so you worry constantly about what might happen. You're trying to control other people's behavior, so you're frustrated when they don't act the way you want. You're trying to control outcomes, so you're devastated when things don't work out despite your best efforts. This is exhausting. And it doesn't work, because you can't control those things. No amount of worry, stress, or effort will give you control over them. So why do we keep trying? Because our brains are wired to seek control. Evolutionarily, our ancestors who tried to control their environment, finding food, avoiding predators, securing shelter, survived. Our brains inherited that drive. We feel safer when we feel in control. The problem is, the world is vastly more complex now. There are millions of variables we can't control, but our brains haven't updated. We still try to control everything, even when it's impossible. This creates a painful gap between what we want to control and what we can actually control. That gap is where suffering lives. Here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of trying to control outcomes, focus on controlling your inputs. You can't control whether you get the job, but you can control how well you prepare for the interview. You can't control whether someone likes you, but you can control how kind and authentic you are. You can't control the traffic, but you can control when you leave and how you respond to being stuck. You can't control whether you get sick, but you can control your lifestyle habits that influence health. You can't control what happened in your past, but you can control how you interpret it and what you do moving forward. This is the circle of control versus the circle of concern. The circle of concern includes everything you care about: your health, your family, your career, the world, the future. It's big. The circle of control includes only what you can actually influence: your thoughts, actions, and responses. It's much smaller. Most people spend most of their time and energy in the circle of concern, worrying about things they can't control. This makes them feel anxious, helpless, and small. Their circle of control actually shrinks because they're not using it. But when you focus your energy on your circle of control, something powerful happens. You take action, you make changes, you build skills, you influence what you can, and your circle of control expands. You become more capable, more confident, more effective. Not because you can suddenly control everything, but because you're using your power where it actually works. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you're worried about your job security. The economy is unstable. Your company might downsize. These are real concerns, but they're outside your control. You can't control the economy. You can't control your company's decisions. If you focus on those things, you'll just be anxious. But what can you control? You can control becoming excellent at your current job. You can control building valuable skills. You can control networking and building relationships. You can control saving money to create a financial cushion. You can control updating your resume. You can control exploring other opportunities. See the diff? Rents, same situation, but when you focus on what you can control, you're empowered instead of paralyzed. You're taking action instead of just worrying. Now let me address a common misconception. Letting go of control doesn't mean you don't care. You can care deeply about things you can't control. You can care about the environment, social justice, other people's well-being, global issues. Caring is good, but caring doesn't mean trying to control. It means doing what you can within your circle of control and accepting what's beyond it. You can recycle, reduce consumption, and support environmental causes. That's within your control. You can't control global climate policy. That's beyond your control. You can vote, volunteer, and speak up for justice. That's within your control. You can't control how every person thinks or acts. That's beyond your control. You can be kind, supportive, and present with your loved ones. That's within your control. You can't control whether they make good choices or how they feel. That's beyond your control. Acceptance of what you can't control doesn't mean apathy. It means wisdom. It means directing your energy effectively. Here's another key insight: letting go of control doesn't mean you don't have preferences. You can prefer certain outcomes without needing to control them. You can prefer to get the promotion while accepting that the final decision isn't yours. You can prefer that your partner responds a certain way while accepting that you can't control their reactions. You can prefer good weather for your event while accepting that weather is what it is. Preferences are fine. Attachment to outcomes you can't control is suffering. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. You can prefer things to go well, but you remain indifferent to whether they actually do because you know it's outside your control. Your peace doesn't depend on getting what you prefer. It depends on accepting what is. This is radical freedom. When you truly internalize what you can and can't control, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop waiting for the world to change before you can be at peace. You realize peace is available right now, regardless of external conditions. Because peace comes from within, from focusing on what you control, from letting go of what you don't. In the next chapter, we're going to explore why trying to control the uncontrollable creates so much suffering and how to recognize when you're doing it. Let's keep going. Chapter 2: Why Control Creates Suffering. Let's talk about what happens when you try to control things outside your control. In one word, suffering. Trying to control the uncontrollable creates anxiety, frustration, resentment, exhaustion, and a deep sense of powerlessness. Let me explain why. First, when you try to control what you can't, you set yourself up for constant disappointment. You put effort, energy, and emotion into something, expecting a certain outcome. When that outcome doesn't happen because it was never within your control, you feel like you failed. But you didn't fail. You were just trying to do the impossible. It's like trying to control the ocean's tide with your hands. No matter how hard you try, the tide does what it does. You can't fail at controlling the tide because you never had that power. But if you believe you should be able to control it, you'll feel like a failure every time it doesn't obey you. This is what happens when you try to control other people, outcomes, or external circumstances. You're setting yourself up to feel inadequate and defeated. Second, trying to control the uncontrollable creates constant anxiety. Your brain is always scanning for threats, for variables you need to manage, for things that could go wrong. What if they don't like me? What if the plan fails? What if the economy crashes? What if I get sick? What if they leave me? You can't rest because there are infinite things that could go wrong and you're trying to prevent all of them. This is exhausting. Your nervous system is in constant overdrive. You can't relax because relaxing means losing control. But you never had control. You're just wearing yourself out chasing an illusion. Third, trying to control others damages your relationships. When you need people to think, feel, or act a certain way, you're not respecting their autonomy. You're trying to manipulate, convince, or pressure them into being who you need them to be. This creates resentment on both sides. They feel controlled. You feel frustrated when they don't comply. Love and control cannot coexist. When you truly love someone, you accept them as they are. You let them make their own choices, even when those choices aren't what you'd prefer. When you try to control someone, you're saying, "Your choices are wrong. You need to be different for me to be okay." That's not love. That's conditional acceptance, and it destroys intimacy. Fourth, trying to control the uncontrollable keeps you stuck in the past or future. You ruminate about what you should have said, how things should have gone differently, why someone shouldn't have treated you that way. But the past is done. It's completely outside your control. You can't change it, or you worry about the future. What if this happens? What if that doesn't work out? But the future hasn't happened yet. You can prepare, but you can't control it. Meanwhile, the present moment, the only place where you actually have power, is slipping by unnoticed. You're so busy trying to control what's gone or what hasn't come that you miss what's here. Fifth, it creates a victim mentality. When you believe you should be able to control things you can't, and those things don't go your way, you feel victimized. Why does this always happen to me? It's not fair. Nothing ever works out. You're at the mercy of external circumstances. Your happiness depends on things beyond your control, which means you're powerless. But you're not powerless. You're just looking in the wrong direction. You're focused on what you can't control instead of what you can. So how do you know when you're trying to control the uncontrollable? Here are the signs. Sign 1, you're worrying constantly. Worry is almost always about things you can't control. If you could control it, you'd just take action. Worry is the mind's futile attempt to control through rumination. Sign 2, you feel anxious when things are uncertain. Uncertainty makes you uncomfortable because you can't control it. You want guarantees, assurances, certainty, but life is inherently uncertain. When you can't tolerate uncertainty, you're trying to control the uncontrollable. Sign 3, you're frequently frustrated with other people. They're not doing what you want, not behaving how they should, not meeting your expectations. This frustration is a sign you're trying to control their behavior. Sign 4, you spend a lot of mental energy on what-if scenarios. What if this happens? What if that doesn't work out? You're trying to control the future by mentally preparing for every possibility. But you can't predict or control the future. Sign 5, you have trouble accepting situations as they are. You constantly think things should be different. The traffic shouldn't be this bad. The weather shouldn't be like this. People shouldn't act that way. Should is a red flag. It means you're arguing with reality. Reality is what it is. When you insist it should be different, you are trying to control it. Sign 6, you take things personally. When something doesn't go your way, you assume it's about you. They didn't respond to your message, they must be mad at you. You didn't get the job, you must not be good enough. You're trying to control others' thoughts and actions by making them about you. But most things aren't about you. People have their own lives, their own struggles, their own reasons. Sign 7, you feel powerless or helpless. This seems contradictory, but trying to control what you can't actually makes you feel less powerful, because you keep trying and failing. True power comes from focusing on what you can control. So if you recognize these signs in yourself, you're trying to control the uncontrollable. The question is, how do you stop? How do you let go? That's what we're going to cover in the next chapter. We're going to learn practical techniques for releasing control and accepting what is, even when it's hard. Let's keep building. Chapter 3. Techniques for letting go. Knowing you should let go is one thing. Actually doing it is another. Let's talk about practical techniques you can use to release control and find peace. Technique 1. Practice the Serenity Prayer Framework. You've probably heard it: grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. This is more than a nice saying. It's a practical framework. When you're stressed about something, ask 3 questions. Can I control this? If yes, what action can I take? If no, can I accept it? If you can control it, stop worrying and start acting. Make a plan, take a step, do something. If you can't control it, practice acceptance. Acknowledge that it's outside your power. Let it be what it is. This simple practice clarifies where to direct your energy. Technique 2. Use the 10-10-10 rule. When something upsets you, ask, will this matter in 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years? Most things that feel urgent and critical right now won't matter in 10 years. This perspective helps you let go of small things. The traffic that made you late won't matter in 10 years. The critical comment someone made won't matter. The embarrassing thing you said won't matter. Save your energy for what actually matters in the long term. Technique 3. Practice radical acceptance. Radical acceptance means fully accepting reality as it is in this moment without resistance or judgment. Not because you like it, but because it is. It's acknowledging this is happening. I can't change it right now. Fighting it won't help. I accept it. This doesn't mean you approve of it or agree with it. It means you stop arguing with reality. You stop saying this shouldn't be happening, because it is happening. Acceptance is the starting point for moving forward. When you're stuck in this shouldn't be, you're paralyzed. When you accept this is, you can ask now what and take action. Technique 4. Redirect your focus. When you catch yourself worrying about something you can't control, consciously redirect your attention. Ask, what can I control right now? Then focus on that. You can't control whether you'll get the job, so stop replaying the interview in your mind. Instead, focus on what you can control, applying to other positions, improving your skills, networking. You can't control whether your partner will change, so stop trying to fix them. Instead, focus on what you can control: how you communicate, your own behavior, whether you stay in the relationship. This redirection takes practice, but it gets easier. You're training your brain to look for control where it exists, not where it doesn't. Technique 5. Use the Let It Be mantra. When you're anxious or frustrated about something you can't control, simply say to yourself, let it be. Not make it different, not fix it. Just let it be. This is permission to stop fighting, to stop forcing, to allow reality to exist without your interference. You can repeat this as many times as needed. They think what they think, let it be. The traffic is what it is, let it be. The past happened, let it be. It's simple, but it works. It interrupts the pattern of control and invites acceptance. Technique 6. Practice the pause. When you feel the urge to control something, pause. Don't react immediately. Take 3 deep breaths. In that pause, ask, is this mine to control? If not, let it go. This pause creates space between trigger and response. It gives you time to choose acceptance over control. Most of the time when you pause, you realize the thing isn't worth your energy. You let it go naturally. Technique 7. Visualize releasing. This is a physical metaphor for emotional release. Close your eyes. Imagine you're holding the thing you're trying to control. You're gripping it tightly. Feel the tension in your hands, your arms, your body. Now slowly open your hands. Release your grip. Watch the thing float away. Feel the relief in your body as you let it go. You don't have to carry it anymore. This visualization works because your brain responds to mental imagery. You're teaching your nervous system what letting go feels like. Technique 8. Journal your worries, then categorize them. Write down everything you're worried about, every stressor, every concern. Then go through the list and mark each one C for can control or N for no control. For the C items, write one action you can take. For the N items, write let it go. This externalizes your thoughts and clarifies what deserves your energy. Most people are surprised to find that 80% of their worries are in the no control category. Technique 9. Accept impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Good times don't last. Bad times don't last. People change. Situations evolve. Health fluctuates. When you try to control things to keep them permanent, you're fighting against the nature of reality. Instead, accept impermanence. Enjoy good things while they're here, knowing they won't last forever. Endure hard things, knowing they won't last forever either. This acceptance reduces suffering. You're not clinging to what can't stay. You're not resisting what must change. Technique 10. Practice gratitude for what is. Instead of focusing on how things should be different, appreciate what is. Right now, what's good in this moment? What do you have? What's working? Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing or wrong to what's present and right. It's hard to be frustrated about what you can't control when you're appreciating what you have. This doesn't mean toxic positivity. You can acknowledge pain and difficulty while also finding gratitude. Technique 11. Use the so what technique. When you're worried about something you can't control, keep asking, so what? They might think badly of me. So what? Then they think badly of me. So what? Then I feel embarrassed. So what? Then I feel uncomfortable for a while and then it passes. So what? Then nothing. Life goes on. This technique helps you realize that most outcomes you fear aren't actually catastrophic. Even if the thing you can't control goes badly, you'll survive. Technique 12. Cultivate trust. Trust that you can handle whatever happens. Trust that things will work out in some way, even if not the way you planned. Trust in your resilience. Trust in the process of life. This doesn't mean blind optimism. It means confidence in your ability to adapt, to cope, to find a way forward. When you trust yourself, you don't need to control everything. You know you'll be okay either way. These techniques work, but they require practice. You won't master them overnight. You've spent years trying to control things. It will take time to unlearn that pattern. Be patient with yourself. Every time you recognize you're trying to control something you can't and you consciously let it go, you're building the skill. Over time, letting go becomes easier, more natural. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about what to do with all the energy you're freeing up by letting go, how to redirect it toward what you can actually control. Let's keep going. Chapter 4. Control what you can. You've learned to let go of what you can't control. Now let's talk about what you should do instead. Focus on what you can control. Remember, there are 3 things you can always control: your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. Let's break down each one and explore how to use them powerfully. First, you can control your thoughts. Not every thought that pops into your head, but how you engage with those thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. Not external reality, but your experience of reality. Two people can face the same situation and have completely different experiences based on their thoughts about it. One person loses their job and thinks, "This is the worst thing that could happen. I'm a failure. I'll never recover." Another person loses their job and thinks, "This is unexpected, but maybe it's an opportunity. I can find something better or explore a new path." Same event. Completely different experiences. The first person will spiral into despair. The second will start taking action toward new possibilities. Your thoughts are within your control. You can't stop negative thoughts from arising, but you can choose which thoughts you believe and which you let go. You can practice cognitive reframing, taking a negative thought and finding a more balanced or empowering perspective. Instead of "I can't handle this," you can think, "This is difficult, but I've handled difficult things before." Instead of "Everyone thinks I'm incompetent," you can think, "I don't know what everyone thinks. I'm doing my best." Instead of "This shouldn't be happening," you can think, "This is happening. How do I respond?" You can also control what you feed your mind. What you consume shapes your thoughts. If you constantly consume negative news, your thoughts will skew negative. If you surround yourself with critical people, your thoughts will become more critical. If you read uplifting books, listen to educational content, and engage with positive people, your thoughts will shift in that direction. You can't control what thoughts arise, but you can control your mental diet. Choose wisely. Second, you can control your actions. This is the most straightforward form of control. What you do every day is completely within your power. You can control whether you wake up early or sleep in. You can control whether you exercise or stay sedentary. You can control whether you work on your goals or procrastinate. You can control whether you eat nourishing food or junk. You can control whether you're kind or rude to the person in front of you. Your actions are your votes for the person you're becoming. Every action counts. And here's the powerful part. Your actions often influence outcomes, even if you can't control those outcomes. You can't control whether you get the job, but you can control how well you prepare. You can't control whether your business succeeds, but you can control the effort, strategy, and persistence you put in. You can't control whether you stay healthy, but you can control your lifestyle choices. When you focus on controlling your actions instead of outcomes, you're empowered. You're doing what's within your power. The rest is up to factors beyond you. And paradoxically, when you focus on actions instead of outcomes, you often get better outcomes. Because you're not paralyzed by anxiety about results. You're just doing the work. Third, you can control your responses. This is perhaps the most important and most challenging form of control. Life will throw unexpected, unwanted, and unfair things at you. You can't control that, but you can control how you respond. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, said, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." You can't control the stimulus, what happens to you, but you can control your response, how you react, what you do next, the meaning you assign to it. Someone criticizes you. You can't control that, but you can control whether you take it as devastating feedback on your worth or as information to consider or ignore. You face a setback. You can't control that, but you can control whether you give up or try a different approach. Someone treats you unfairly. You can't control that, but you can control whether you respond with anger and retaliation or with grace and boundaries. Your response is your power. It's where your character shows. It's where your values matter. Anyone can respond well when things go their way. Responding well when things don't go your way, that's mastery. So how do you actually control your responses instead of reacting automatically? Practice the pause. When something happens that triggers you, pause before responding. Take a breath. Count to 10. Walk away if you need to. In that pause, you create space to choose your response instead of being hijacked by your emotions. Ask yourself, how do I want to respond to this? What response aligns with my values? What response will I be proud of later? Then respond from that intentional place. Another powerful practice is choosing your attitude. You can't always control your emotions, but you can control your attitude, your general stance toward life. Do you approach life with an attitude of victimhood or responsibility? Do you face challenges with an attitude of defeat or determination? Do you see setbacks as evidence that life is against you or as opportunities to grow? Your attitude shapes your experience, and your attitude is within your control. You can choose it. Every morning you can ask, what attitude do I want to bring to today? Then consciously embody that attitude. Now let's talk about proactive versus reactive living. Most people live reactively. They wait for things to happen to them, then react. They're at the mercy of circumstances. Life happens to them. Proactive people create their lives. They take initiative. They act based on their values and goals, not just in response to what happens. They're not waiting for permission or perfect conditions. They're doing what they can with what they have. Proactive living is focusing on what you can control. It's asking, what can I do today to move toward the life I want? Not, what external conditions need to change before I can be happy. When you focus on controlling your thoughts, actions, and responses, you become proactive. You're steering your life instead of being tossed around by it. Here are specific ways to exercise your control. Control your morning routine. Start your day intentionally, not by scrolling your phone or reacting to emails. Decide how you want to begin. Control your self-talk. Notice when you're being self-critical or catastrophizing. Consciously shift to more balanced or encouraging thoughts. Control your effort. You can't control outcomes, but you can always control whether you give your best effort. Control your integrity. You can always choose to act in alignment with your values, even when it's hard. Control your boundaries. You can decide what you will and won't accept in your relationships. You can say no. Control your learning. You can always choose to grow, to read, to develop new skills. Control your kindness. You can choose to be kind, even to people who don't deserve it. Control your presence. You can choose to be fully present in moments instead of distracted or elsewhere mentally. When you focus your energy on these areas you can control, several things happen. You feel more empowered because you're acting instead of worrying. You build self-trust because you're keeping commitments to yourself. You develop resilience because you're proving you can handle what comes. You create better outcomes because consistent action in areas you control influences results. And you find peace because you're not fighting reality. You're working with what you have. In the final chapter, we're going to bring it all together and talk about building a mindset of acceptance and resilience for the long term. Let's finish strong. Chapter 5. Building acceptance and resilience. You've learned what you can and can't control. You've learned why trying to control the uncontrollable creates suffering. You've learned techniques for letting go. You've learned how to focus on what you can control. Now let's talk about making this a permanent mindset, building deep acceptance and resilience that allows you to navigate life's uncertainties with peace. First, understand that acceptance is not resignation. This is crucial. Many people resist acceptance because they think it means giving up, being passive, or approving of bad situations. That's not what acceptance means. Acceptance means acknowledging reality as it is right now, not as you wish it were, not as it should be, as it is. From that place of clear-eyed acknowledgement, you can take effective action. Resignation is, this is how it is and there's nothing I can do, so I'll just suffer through it. Acceptance is, this is how it is. I don't like it, but I accept it. Now what can I do? One is passive and powerless. The other is active and empowered. When you accept what is, you stop wasting energy fighting reality. You save that energy for changing what you can. Second, build acceptance as a practice, not a one-time achievement. You won't accept everything once and be done. Acceptance is something you practice daily, moment by moment. Life will continuously present things you don't want, disappointments, losses, changes, uncertainties. Each one is an opportunity to practice acceptance. Make it a daily practice. Each morning or evening ask, what am I resisting in my life right now? What am I trying to control that I can't? Can I accept it as it is? This keeps you conscious. It prevents you from slipping back into control mode without noticing. Third, embrace uncertainty as a fundamental part of life. Most control issues come from intolerance of uncertainty. You want to know everything will be okay. You want guarantees. You want to know how things will turn out, but life doesn't offer guarantees. The future is inherently uncertain. Health is uncertain. Relationships are uncertain. Careers are uncertain. Life is uncertain. When you try to eliminate uncertainty, you're trying to control the uncontrollable. And you'll be anxious constantly because uncertainty never goes away. Instead, make peace with uncertainty. Accept it as the nature of existence. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is guaranteed. And that's okay. You don't need certainty to be at peace. You can be at peace with uncertainty. In fact, uncertainty makes life interesting. If you knew exactly how everything would unfold, life would be boring. Uncertainty means possibility. It means things can surprise you, can turn out better than expected, can change in ways you couldn't predict. So instead of fearing uncertainty, embrace it. I don't know how this will turn out, and that's okay. I'll handle whatever comes. Fourth, build resilience through self-trust. Resilience isn't about never falling down, it's about getting back up. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you'll find a way to handle it. And self-trust is the foundation of resilience. When you trust yourself, you don't need to control everything. Because you know that even if things go badly, you'll cope. You'll adapt. You'll figure it out. How do you build self-trust? By keeping promises to yourself. When you say you'll do something, do it. When you commit to a boundary, honor it. When you face a challenge, handle it instead of avoiding it. Every time you do what you said you'd do, you build trust with yourself. Over time, you develop deep confidence. I can handle what comes. I've done it before. I'll do it again. That confidence makes uncertainty bearable. Fifth, practice self-compassion when you struggle. Letting go is hard. You'll slip back into trying to control things. You'll worry about outcomes. You'll try to change people. When this happens, don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself. I'm trying to control again. That's okay. It's a hard habit to break. Let me refocus on what I can control. Self-compassion makes growth possible. When you're harsh with yourself, you resist facing your patterns. When you're kind, you can look honestly and adjust. 6. Find meaning in challenges. This is one of the most powerful resilience tools. Viktor Frankl taught that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control what meaning we assign to it. When you face difficulty, ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What opportunity might be hidden in this challenge? How can I grow through this? You're not pretending the challenge is good. You're finding value in it anyway. This reframe transforms suffering into growth. 7th, build a support system. You don't have to let go and accept things alone. Talk to people you trust. Share your struggles. Let them remind you what you can and can't control. Connection is healing. When you're trying to accept something difficult, having someone say, "You're right, you can't control that, but you can control this. And you're doing great," that support matters. Don't isolate, reach out. 8th, celebrate your wins. Every time you successfully let go of something you can't control, acknowledge it. You practiced acceptance instead of control. That's growth. That deserves recognition. Keep a letting go journal. Write down moments when you successfully released control and found peace. Over time, you'll have evidence of your progress. This motivates you to keep going. 9th, revisit your why. Why does letting go matter to you? What do you gain by accepting what you can't control? Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's energy for what matters. Maybe it's better relationships. Maybe it's mental health. Whatever it is, keep it front of mind. When letting go feels hard, remind yourself why you're doing it. 10th, accept that some days will be harder than others. This isn't linear. Some days you'll feel at peace with everything. Other days you'll be anxious and trying to control everything. That's normal. Don't judge yourself for the hard days, just notice them. Use your techniques. Redirect your focus. Tomorrow is another chance. Finally, remember that letting go is an act of courage, not weakness. It takes strength to accept what you can't change. It takes bravery to stop fighting and surrender to reality. It takes wisdom to focus your energy where it matters. You're not giving up. You're strategically directing your power toward what you can influence. That's smart. That's strong. That's how you build a life of peace in an uncertain world. In our final section, we're going to bring everything together and give you a clear path forward. Let's finish strong. We've covered a lot in the last hour, so let's bring it all together. You learned the fundamental distinction between what you can and can't control. You can control your thoughts, actions, and responses. You cannot control other people, the past, the future, outcomes, or external circumstances. This distinction is everything. When you focus on what you can't control, you suffer. When you focus on what you can, you're empowered. You learned why trying to control the uncontrollable creates so much suffering. It sets you up for constant disappointment. It creates chronic anxiety. It damages relationships. It keeps you stuck in the past or future. It creates a victim mentality. And you learn the signs that you're trying to control what you can't: constant worry, intolerance of uncertainty, frustration with others. What if thinking, arguing with reality. Then you learned practical techniques for letting go. The Serenity Prayer Framework, the 10-10-10 Rule, radical acceptance, redirecting your focus. The Let It Be Mantra, the pause, visualizing release, journaling and categorizing worries, accepting impermanence, practicing gratitude. The So What Technique, cultivating trust. Each of these tools helps you release control and find peace. Next, you learned what to do instead of trying to control everything. Focus on what you can control. Control your thoughts through reframing and intentional mental diet. Control your actions by making choices aligned with your values and goals. Control your responses by pausing and choosing intentionally instead of reacting automatically. You learned the difference between proactive and reactive living and how to be proactive. Finally, you learned how to build lasting acceptance and resilience. Acceptance is not resignation. It's acknowledging reality so you can act effectively. Make acceptance a daily practice. Embrace uncertainty as fundamental to life. Build resilience through self-trust. Practice self-compassion. Find meaning in challenges. Build support systems. Celebrate your wins. Remember your why. Accept that some days are harder. Recognize that letting go is courage, not weakness. So here's what it all comes down to. Peace is not found by controlling everything around you. Peace is found by letting go of what you can't control and focusing on what you can. This is radically simple but profoundly difficult, because your brain will resist. Your conditioning will pull you back toward trying to control. Your anxiety will whisper that if you don't worry, bad things will happen, but none of that is true. Worrying doesn't prevent bad things. Trying to control doesn't make you safe. Fighting reality doesn't change it. What actually works is acceptance. Letting things be what they are. Focusing your energy where it makes a difference on your thoughts, your actions, your responses. When you do that, something miraculous happens. You stop feeling powerless. You start feeling capable. You stop being exhausted by worry. You start having energy for what matters. You stop being frustrated by others. You start having compassion and healthy boundaries. You stop living in anxiety about the future. You start being present in your actual life. You stop arguing with reality. You start working with what is. This is freedom, not the freedom to control everything. The freedom from needing to control everything. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, before you move on, think of one thing you've been trying to control that's outside your control. Maybe it's someone's opinion of you. Maybe it's a past event you keep replaying. Maybe it's a worry about the future. Maybe it's someone else's behavior. Whatever it is, acknowledge it. I've been trying to control this. Then ask, can I actually control this? If the answer is no, make a decision. I'm letting this go. It's not mine to control. Take a deep breath. Visualize opening your hands and releasing it. Feel the relief. Then ask, what can I control in this situation? Maybe you can control your response. Maybe you can control one action you take. Maybe you can control your thoughts about it. Focus there. Make a plan for what you'll do with the energy you were wasting on trying to control the uncontrollable. This is your practice. Every day, multiple times a day, you'll catch yourself trying to control things you can't. That's normal. Just notice it. Let it go. Redirect to what you can control. Over time, this becomes easier. The grip of control loosens. Acceptance becomes more natural. Peace becomes your baseline instead of anxiety, and you realize you were never powerless. You were just looking for power in the wrong place. Your power was always in you, in your ability to choose your thoughts, in your ability to choose your actions, in your ability to choose your responses. That power can never be taken from you. It exists regardless of external circumstances. When you fully own that power, you're free, you're resilient. Why? You're at peace. Not because everything is going your way, but because you've stopped needing everything to go your way. You've accepted life as it is, uncertain, uncontrollable, impermanent, and you've decided that's okay. You can handle it, you will handle it, one moment at a time, one choice at a time. Let go of what you can't control. Focus on what you can. That's the path to peace. That's the path to power. That's the path to freedom. Thank you for this hour. Now go practice letting go. Start today. Start now. You've got this.